If you're following along in this series, welcome back. This is part 5 of my paper pumpkin alternative videos where I'm sharing projects I designed using the August 2021 paper pumpkin kit called the Hope Box. In this final video of the series, I'm going to teach you how to create a really cute punch art mermaid card. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so for this card, we are going to be working with this piece from the paper pumpkin kit. We're also going to be working with this piece. Now, I did crop off 1/4 of an inch of this piece because we're going to be placing this onto a note card. So we're going to go ahead and start with that, with the card base. And so I have a basic white note card. This is going to go like on the top like this, but because I want to add texture, I'm going to be using my Seashells 3D embossing folder. Because this is a mermaid card, I'm going to place this in here, and then I'm going to go run this through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Right, so now we have that piece. It's been all embossed, and you can see you have this beautiful seashell pattern in the background. So I'm going to take my adhesive, and I'm going to glue this to the front of my basic white note card. Next, I've taken a piece of basic white cardstock and I've run it through my die cutting machine with the scallop contour dies. And this is going to be where our mermaid is going to be. So we want to add a sentiment down here in the corner. I'm going to be stamping from this host special this month. It's a celebration host special. And there's lots of words that would work perfectly with this mermaid card today, but I'm going to stamp Be Who You Were Born to Be. So I'll be using my Memento ink pad. I'm going to ink up my stamp, and then I'm going to stamp in the corner. Okay, then this is going to get mounted into the center of the card with dimensionals. All right, the base of our card is ready, and now we're ready to do punch art. So when I first opened my paper pumpkin kit and saw this piece, I was with my friend Laura Dubois, and she just looked at this piece and she said, I see a mermaid, because she knew that I love to do punch art, and this reminded both of us of a mermaid tail. And then one of Laura's downlines, Sherry Petrucci, she recently made a really cute mermaid card using the penguin builder punch. And so I'm gonna be inspired by Sherry's design in creating my mermaid today. All right, so what I'm gonna start with is a piece of Blushing Bride cardstock, and I'm just going to punch out this penguin shape here. All right, now to create the tail, we're going to be pulling out the scale piece. And if you follow my videos, you're very familiar with the LTT or Laura's tape technique. And so out of this piece, I am going to take and cover it with a piece of tape. All right. Now I'm going to take my scissors and clean it up. All right, so now my this banner has been all covered with some packing tape, and now we're ready to punch it. So as I said, you can make 2 different tails out of this piece. So I'm going to grab my penguin builder punch. I'm going to slide this into the punch like so, line it up, and punch it out. Now, if you don't want to put tape through your punch, because it can do some wear and tear, and if you're going to make a lot of mermaid cards, then another thing that you could do is punch first and then put the tape and cut around it in the same way I just did that with this banner, okay? All right, so now we have our shiny mermaid tail, and we are ready to move on to the next step. All right, for our next step, we have the penguin body and we have the little mermaid tail. And then I'm going to take and I'm going to place the 2 of them together. And what we want to do is we want to proportion them out a little bit because they're a little bit out of proportion. So I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to go right along the edge of the tail, and then I'm going to cut up. And then I'm going to come under here like this, and I'm going to just come up and match it at that point. All right, and then I'm going to try to do this upside down so you can still see it. But I'm going to come on the opposite side, and I'm just going to come up slightly, and then we'll come under this little wing right here, and we'll come up to meet it. All right, and so that looks pretty good. So what we've done is we've changed our little penguin wings into little mermaid arms, and then we can take the tail and we can see that it's in much better proportion now. So we can go ahead and we can flip this over, add a tiny little bit of liquid glue to the top of it, and then we can adhere these 2 pieces together. And I like to adhere it so that the tail is kind of going a little bit off to the left. All right, next you're ready to make the mermaid's hair. And there are so many different hairstyles we can make with the mermaid, but at the end of the video, I'll show you a couple different hairstyles that I did on my mermaids. But for this mermaid here, we are going to be working with the Label Me Lovely punch. So I'm gonna take a piece of cardstock and I'm gonna punch that out. All right, next for the bangs, I'll just take a little strip of cardstock like this. I'm gonna place it into the penguin builder punch, and then I'm just going to punch out the top part of the penguin like that. All right, so for the Label Me Lovely punch, I don't like the square top that's right there, so I'm gonna give this mermaid a little hair trim. So I'm gonna just come straight across, and I'm just gonna cut off that top piece like that. And I'm gonna leave the one at the bottom, but when you make your mermaid, you can cut that off if you don't like that as well. But watch, here's what the mermaid's hair is gonna look like. So you can see, you can give her a longer hairstyle. These are gonna be the bangs, you know, or you could give her more height, and you can put the dimensional, so it's whatever way you like to make your mermaid. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna take the bangs and I'm gonna cut just a little tiny piece out to just add some texture to the bangs. And then I'm gonna flip the mermaid and I'm just gonna put some adhesive on the back of the body here. Now you can use dimensionals and that will give it another look as well. But for this one, I wanna make it just flat. And then I'm gonna put it on there so it looks like the hair is pretty long, like it comes right here to the tail. And then for this piece here, again, I could add dimensionals, but I'm gonna go ahead and just add this flat because I have another idea in mind of adding some more dimension to the top of her hair. All right, so now we need to give her a face. So I'm going to be just using a black pen, and then I'm going to just dot 2 eyes and a little smile. All right, and then I will be using my Flirty Flamingo Blends marker to give her some rosy cheeks. All right, next we need to create the penguin's top. Now, when Sherry made her mermaid, she had a great idea. She used the penguin builder punch, and then she placed a piece of cardstock in here like this, and she did 2 little punches like that. And so now the little foot of the penguin became a cute little top for our mermaid. Okay, so you can make little shells just like that. All right, what I did though is I created the mermaid's top just a little bit different. I did it with a stamp. So I have a scrap piece of basic white cardstock, and then I'm going to be using my Memento ink, and I'm going to be stamping this little butterfly from this paper pumpkin kit. All right, and then I'm going to take a Stamp and Blends marker. I'll go ahead and just use my Flirty Flamingo because it's handy, and I'm going to color that in. Okay, next I'm going to cut this out. All right, so now that I've cut it down like this, you could almost create a little bikini top out of it just like that. But I wanted to make it look more like shells. So I'm gonna take, and on that black part that's right there, I'm gonna just cut straight across, and I'm gonna do that on both sides. And so now I'm gonna create these 2 little individual shells, and then I'm gonna place a mini dimensional behind each one. All right, so I have my mini dimensionals on. I'm gonna take off the backing, and then I'm gonna stick the little shells on the mermaid. All right, so I've added some mini dimensionals, and now I've mounted my little shells onto the mermaid, and she's almost finished. Okay, next we're gonna add a flower to her hair. There's all kinds of things we could use for a flower, but I'm gonna go back to the paper pumpkin kit, and I'm gonna use this piece here. I love this flower, and I think this will be perfect on the mermaid. So I'm gonna go ahead and fussy cut this out. Then I'm gonna add a couple of dimensionals behind it. And now we have a beautiful flower to adorn our mermaid's hair. Next, we wanna add some embellishments. So I'm gonna use these pretty sequins that came in the paper pumpkin kit, and I'm just going to place 3 of them right in the center of the flower. Okay, and so now our mermaid is ready to go on the card. So I'm going to flip this around. I'm going to put a dimensional right there connecting the hair with the body. And then I'll just put some more dimensionals on like this. 1 here at the tail. I will take off the backing. And then our little shiny tailed mermaid is going to get mounted onto our card just like this. Okay, and then to finish up this card, I'm just gonna throw on some embellishments. So with a mermaid, you could use any type of embellishments that you want. So I have some elegant faceted gems. I'm gonna put one there. I think even this pink color would look nice. So maybe I'll put one there. I think I can throw on one of these. And I think I'll add another white one over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe a pink one down here. Okay, you could use jewel rhinestones, you could use sequins. In fact, let me show you some more samples so you can see the other ways that I did my mermaid cards, and I embellished them all a little bit different. All right, so the first mermaid card I did was this one. And this one was done with the base that came in the paper pumpkin kit and with the same piece that I used on this card here. And I embossed it, and one of the circles that came out of the paper pumpkin kit, and I stamped with the same sentiment. Now, I did the shells like I showed you in Sherry's version with using the penguin punch. And then the hair on this one was made out of the tulip builder punch, okay? All right, next I have this card here. This is another big-haired mermaid. On this one, I had cut a couple of the pieces in the paper pumpkin kit apart. On this middle piece here, I used the speckle stamp to kind of create my own version of this. So it's nice because this kit came with a speckle stamp so that you could get the look that's on one of the card bases. I used the same embossing folder. I just did random sequins, but I did use some of the sequins that came in the paper pumpkin kit. And then these shells, I just glued them flat rather than give them dimension because I had more dimension with the mermaid's hair, and also I added dimension to the sentiment. This, I see you and you are wonderful, is another sentiment that comes from the In Your Words stamp set. All right, so those are my mermaid cards. I hope that you like them, and I hope that you also enjoyed all the projects that I showed you in this series. I had a lot of fun with this month's paper pumpkin kit. It was so colorful and there was so many possibilities. I also love butterflies, so I felt like I really got a nice variety of cards with it. I love working with paper pumpkin, and I guess if you're watching this video, you do too. And I just want to say thank you for taking the time to either watch just this video, or hopefully you got to catch all 5 videos in this series. I love sharing projects with you, so I hope that you'll subscribe to my YouTube channel so that I can continue to share projects with you. I look forward to the next time we're together, so be sure to check out my next video soon. Until then, aloha.